Welcome to Doing the Dang Thing podcast. I am your host, Jill Schmeeding, and this podcast is all about helping everyday women play big and aspire for more. On today's episode, I am going to be talking to you about this very simple concept, but a simple concept that can be quite challenging at times for us to execute. The idea is you have the right to change your mind. You have the right to change your mind, and not only that, you don't have to give an explanation when you do it. I know I'm not alone in this. Even if I'm a people pleaser and you're not a people pleaser, I know I'm not alone in this whole idea of you say you're going to do something, you want to commit, but then last minute you want to change your mind. Do you do it? Do you change your mind? Are you one of those individuals who has the ability to say, no, something's off, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm over it and I'm going to change my mind? This is different than I feel like when we're, I think sometimes our generation can be like, oh, something better comes up and so I'm going to change my mind and do that other thing. This is different than that. This is listening to your intuition. Your intuition is telling you something and you either go with it or you don't. And then you suffer the consequences, right? And so I have a little quick story that I want to share with you about how I should have changed my mind this last weekend, but I didn't. And I chose to stick to my guns. I didn't want to be, I don't know. This is the thing. I've been kind of researching a little bit why I didn't want to change my mind, why I didn't listen to my inner mentor. I mean, if you have been listening to this podcast at all, you have heard me talk about the book Playing Big by Mohr. It's the book that started this whole podcast, if I'm being honest with you. She talks about your inner mentor in that book and how it just sits back waiting patiently for you to listen to her, whereas your inner critic screams very loudly at you. Well, this last weekend, I had an opportunity to go dancing, and if you've listened to the episodes in the past, you also know that I am attempting to be a salsa dancer, and right now it's a little bit on the back burner, but I still go out and still have a fun time socializing and dancing. Well, this last weekend, I had this weird feeling. I've been feeling off a little bit, just like down in the dumps a little bit, sad. I'm going through a lot personally. And so I just didn't want to go out. But I had already told my girlfriend that I would meet her at a certain location to go dancing that night. And so I forced myself to get ready. I forced myself to drive 20, 25 minutes to the location, and I forced myself to go in. Now, I think there's a difference. I just want to pause for a second and be like, there is a difference between stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? Pushing past the fear, which we've talked about a lot on this podcast, and trying new things. So if you're trying to go to like, maybe it's a networking event or a new girls group, or, you're going to a new moms group, a new Bible study, you name it, sports club, and you're like, it's your first time, you don't know anyone, and so fear's kind of creeping in a little bit, and you don't want to go, but you go anyways. I think that is okay. I think that is good. I'm sure your intuition is probably knocking from the inside saying, you should go, give it a shot, you'll be fine, I got you, right? The situation that happened to me last weekend was different, in my personal opinion. My intuition was telling me, don't go. Something feels off, right? But I didn't listen to it. How many of you have chosen to not listen to your intuition at some point or another, and there's some consequences? Well, that is exactly what happened to me. I drove all the way down there. I messaged my girlfriend, and just before I went in, I was sitting in the parking lot. I don't know. I know I'm not alone in this, or maybe I am, but I was sitting in the parking lot. I felt a little off. I messaged my girlfriend and I was just like, I felt like crying on the way down here. I probably should not be going inside. Like, nobody wants to dance with somebody who wants to cry. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I didn't. I pushed past. Obviously I was there anyway, so I was just like, no, I gotta go in. So anyways, I walk into the location. I see my friend. I give her a hug. We talk. It's all good. Like, we're in the line for getting drinks, and I scan the room, and I immediately see someone in the crowd. And this is where I'm just going to say, that's the reason why I shouldn't have been there. That was the reason that I shouldn't have been there. And it hit me smack in the face, right? It hit me smack in the face. And in that moment, I thought to myself, I should have listened to my intuition. I should be home on my couch, eating some yummy mac and cheese, enjoying my evening. There will always be another night to go out dancing, right? And I think that when we go against our intuition and we listen to some other lie that we're telling ourselves, like, oh, I can't disappoint my friend, or my friend's going to be mad at me if I cancel, or, I'm a liar, right? I said I was going to do something and then I changed my mind last minute. It's like, what are we holding on to? What are we holding on to? I think for me, it's the biggest thing for me is it's about being the people pleaser. It's about putting others' needs before my own. I do that all the time, and I'm working on it, and I'm aware. So if that's something that you struggle with as well, where it's like, something doesn't feel right inside of me, but it's more important for me to do this for this other person than to take care of myself, I encourage you to just check that next time and think to yourself, make sure you take care of yourself. And that's going to look different for everyone. But I do think it's important that we do that. And so I am here to remind you that it is something you have the right to do. It is one of your Bill of Rights. You have the right to change your mind. It's going to look different for everyone. And maybe it means not canceling altogether, like last weekend. For me, maybe it means, hey, friend, I'm not willing to meet you to go dancing, but I'm willing to meet you to have a drink before you go dancing. Because for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel right to me to go out dancing this weekend. That's a nice little compromise, and she would have been happy with that. And another thing I want to leave you with is this. Having good girlfriends is a must. And my friend saw that I was uncomfortable. And she said, hey, take care of yourself. If you need to leave early, do whatever you got to do. Like, whatever's going to make you feel most comfortable. And I think that right there felt very empowering and very like, thank you so much. You didn't put pressure on me to stay more than I needed to. She didn't make me feel guilty. She didn't make me feel sad that I'm changing my plans. Nothing. She said, do what's best for you. That's the message that I have for you today. And it's a very quick, easy, very simple. You have the right to change your mind. And just remember to listen to your intuition, right? That is, as Tara Mohr said, she actually mentioned something in her book that I wanted to read to you just briefly. It says, listening to your inner mentor instead of your inner critic is the first of the major shifts that enable us to move from playing small to playing big. Amen to that, right? Thank you so much for tuning in today on Doing the Dang Thing podcast. I really appreciate it. You can also find me on Instagram at _accountabilitist. I am your accountability partner on helping you play big. And last but not least, I want to read a review that I received on the Apple Podcasts. And I encourage you, if you like this podcast, please give us some 5 stars on Spotify and leave a review on Apple. It really means a lot to me when I see those. And I just love knowing that you guys are out there tuning in and finding value in this podcast. So without further ado, this is one of the reviews that I got that I thought was just awesome. Jill talks about topics we all love to discuss around the table. Her warmth draws you in and you feel like you're a part of the conversation. Thank you so much to the person who left that review. You know who you are. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a fantastic day and continue to play big and aspire for more. Take care, everyone.